Over the years, I've looked at a lot of red light therapy panels, but today I look at my first red light therapy belt. Hey guys, Alex here from alexfergus.com, and yes, today I have the Mito Red Light Advanced Red Light Therapy Belt. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, the Mito Red Light Belt. This is actually their second gen belt. It's been upgraded, had a few things improved, a bigger battery, updated instructions, easier operation, a few little tweaks. Anyway, it is actually the first time I have seen a red light therapy belt. It's a bit crazy because, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I've been in this space for a long time. So I'm gonna open it up, have a look at it, share my thoughts. I'll see how powerful these things are. They are battery operated, so I'm not expecting amazing figures, but on the other hand, you're not standing 6 inches away from it, you're putting it directly up against the body, right? So that changes things a little bit. What I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna use it for a week or two and then share my thoughts and feedback and experiences. So let's get into the review. I'm gonna open this up, we'll share the key features, figures, and go from there. All right, so let's open up the box. So first up, we have a branded carry bag. Pretty cool. I am impressed with the Mito Red Light packaging. It's a little bit nicer than a lot of companies. This must be the battery pack. We have a plug, which unfortunately is not my local plug, so I'll have to get an adapter for that. USB port plug as well, it's a bit odd. I guess you can charge it using USB. Actually, I don't know what that's for. I'll come back to that. The control panel, or remote, that's part of the cables. Yeah, there's a bunch of cables there. We'll put all those aside and have a look at them later. And now the belt itself. So you can see there's quite a lot of LEDs in there. In fact, I believe it's about 405 LEDs. Yeah, 405 LEDs. And what's interesting is the triple chip LEDs. So you've seen dual chip LEDs in some panels before. These have 3 chips in each diode or bulb or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if we'll be able to see this on screen, but yeah, there's 3 little chips in there. So that means effectively you are getting over 1,200 LEDs in this belt, which is quite insane, really. And you'll notice they're quite close together. I mean, if you compare it to a typical panel, sometimes you're about an inch gap between LEDs. So you're getting a good concentration of light. So it is going to be interesting to test the power levels. It's quite a nice, soft, I don't know what the fabric is, but it feels very soft. Big Velcro straps here, once I figure out how it all works. And then I'm assuming this strap goes over top. You know what? I'm going to put it on and we'll see how it works. Okay, so I have the belt here. You can see the LED panel itself is only, a bit over a foot. So it's really only going to cover half your body. So for instance, if I put that on my belly, you can see, obviously I'm not putting it that way, it's really only half my torso. So it's not a full body wrap as such, though it could be used, for your quads, knees. I guess you could use it on your arm, you've got heaps of space. I wonder if people use it on their head. Look a bit silly, but it could be done. For some reason, I just assumed it went all the way around, but it's really only half. So, obviously the lower back is your main, it's most suited to a lower back use. Maybe you're using it on the front. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is just put it on. We'll try to figure out how to put it on. Obviously, you take your shirt off, especially if you want the red light benefits. And then there was this extra strap here, which is rather elastic. I don't even know how these work. And I guess that just goes over top as extra support. But you don't really need that extra layer, to be honest. I mean, the Velcro in that first strap feels pretty solid. I can push against that, move about, and it's not going to move. So Yeah, I don't think we need that second bit. If you see down here, there's a pouch for the battery pack, and the little cable plug is just around here. So at the moment I've got it set up with the LEDs on my back. And yeah, it's quite comfortable. I could easily walk in it. I could probably even train in it, which would be interesting. So one thing I forgot to show you earlier was this battery pack. So this is just like a standard USB battery pack. It's got a USB-A port, USB-C, and then this other power port here. Now, 5 volts, 2 amps, 15,000 amps. Is that microamps? So decent little battery. I wonder though if you could even get a bigger one. I suppose you could, because it's just USB powered. And then that just goes in this little pouch here. I don't know if you can see that, just goes in there. So I can charge this obviously through USB. I don't need to use the American power plug adapter, which is cool. And then you've got all these cables. So one end goes in the battery pack, turn the battery pack on. This would then plug in this little port, and that's it. Okay, cool. So I've charged up this battery pack. I'm going to plug it all in now, and I've got my spectrometer here to test the irradiance. So let's get this going. We'll also have a play around with the remote to see how that works. Put the battery in the battery pack. Yeah, the excess cable there is a bit, I don't know, I mean, I suppose I can tuck it all in that pouch there. I watched one of the videos on the product page for the belt, and you know, it showed a person running it when it was plugged into the wall. Like you don't need to use the battery pack. You could use this, plug it directly into the wall, and sort of sit there running it. I suppose, you know, that makes sense, but I kind of like the idea of the portability aspect of this. You know, you can put it on while doing your dishes or warming up or whatever it may be. But yeah, there's tons of cable. It's a shame there wasn't even another pouch. I suppose you could squeeze it all in that pocket though. It wouldn't be too bad. So I think I turn the battery pack on. Yep. The remote comes on like so. If I press the power, the lights start glowing. It says all. Also it's on off. Simple as that. Timer over here. That is minutes. So you can set the timer up to 30 minutes. I'm not too sure what all does. Maybe it's just continuous. Plus or minus is intensity. So you can go low intensity, level 1, level 2, level 3. I don't know if you can see that, but it's getting brighter all the way up to level 4. So, well, there's 5 intensities. And then on the right here, you've got this little arrow button that changes between just red light, just near infrared, or all, which is both. So it's pretty self-explanatory, really. Intensity, power, timer, and light options. Okay, so now you've seen that. I'm now going to test the irradiance. So I'll get this set up. Remember, I'm going to test this right on the belt. I might actually do a 6-inch test anyway, just to see. Yeah, you know what? I will do a 6-inch test anyway, just to see how it does compare to, you know, a typical panel. So we'll do that test first, and we'll test it at full intensity with both red light and near infrared light on. Okay, so we'll do the 6-inch test first. At 6 inches, I'll just move around to try to find the peak. Yeah, there's really not a lot. 2.5 milliwatts over centimeter squared. So that's at 6 inches, right? You're not going to be using this at 6 inches. I just did that to compare it to a panel. So like the Mito Pro 300 I just recently tested, that's from the same company. That had a peak figure of like 72 milliwatts or something like that at 6 inches. This is 2. You know, it's huge difference. I knew that'd be the case, being a battery powered device, you know, no fans and all that. It's a reason why those panels are so big, heavy. You know, they got lots of fans and cooling systems in it. I can see the peak wavelengths were, yeah, 850, 855-ish, 650, so that's a little bit lower. I'm just going to test that again. So I'm actually in the red. I'm actually getting a wavelength of 655. So, you know, I usually say within 5 nanometers is okay. 654.4 to 0.8. So ever so slightly off the typical margin of error. And we'll test the near infrared now, and I'm seeing 855.8. So the near infrared's a little bit higher, the red's a little bit lower. Okay, so now I'm going to test that right up against the panel itself. I'll take multiple readings here. because, you know, of how the LEDs are laid out. Remember, there are 400 and something LEDs and each, 405 LEDs, and each LED chip, or each LED diode, I'm not too sure the technical terms, has 3 chips in it. So it's quite neat. Okay, so let's test this out. Okay, so I'll read off a bunch of readings that I see. I'm over a red light one at the moment, and I'm at 10, just over 10. I'll go over a near infrared, and I'm at 44 over the near infrared. I don't know how reliable these readings are right up close. I know I did this a while back with some panels and the numbers were like all over the place. There was no consistency. So I might actually be better coming ever so slightly off. So when I come ever so slightly off, so yeah, like a few mils off the light here, and I'm getting, it really depends. When you come right over the LED, you get about a 10. It can spike up a little bit higher than that, 5. If I push it hard up over a near infrared, I can get about a 20, 25. If I push it hard up over a red light, I get about an 18. If I come off a little bit, the figure's around that 10, 12 mark. It's really hard to get a consistent reading with this. It's why I typically measure, you know, further out, because there's so much, you know, I don't know, when you get right up against a light source, I've noticed it before, the readings go a bit funny. It's not how it's necessarily meant to be measured. But it's unfortunate because that's how you'd wear this, right against the skin. But I mean, you're not seeing massive numbers here. Like right now, about a centimeter out, I'm seeing 5, 6, 7s. But every now and then I'll get this crazy like 15 or so. So, hey, look, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. You know, I thought that 2 figure that I saw at 2.5, that I saw at 6 inches, might be all you're getting at the source. So it's probably not too bad. If you're wearing this against the body, you know, you're not wearing a t-shirt or anything, and you're going to wear it for 20 minutes or so, you're probably going to get a decent therapeutic amount of light because of how many LEDs there are on that targeted area. Of course, it's not going to be the same as using a panel. Like, you could use that Mito Red panel, the Mito Pro 300, for instance, you know, stand in front of that for 5 minutes at 6 inches, and you're probably going to get a lot more energy. And then, of course, you can target other areas as well. Of course, though, it's not meant to compete with the panel, right? It's a battery-powered device. It's a wrap. It's flexible. It's a totally different product. That has its own advantages and appeal. So, hey, look, I am satisfied with those numbers. They are higher than I thought. What's interesting, it's only been running, what, 5 minutes or so, and I can already feel some warmth on this. Like, it's not hot, but you know, there's a bit of warmth there. So that could be another good reason to use this, like prior to a gym workout, if you've got a bit of a stiff back. I actually would like to get something like this in the shape of some shorts or pants. You know, I'm doing a lot of training, weightlifting, squats, deadlifts, and rowing of late, right? So it'd be really cool to just be able to slip some of these on as I'm warming up, or like in a rest period, you know, rather than running over to the panels, just put them on. I mean, geez, I've got panels in my gym, so it's not hard to run over to panels, but I was thinking more if I travel or if I'm going to a competition, you know, I can just slip on some pants, know that I'm going to get a bit of red light on there, and or for recovery, and not have to lug around a big panel. But real quick, I don't think I mentioned the price before. It retails for $329. If you use discount code Alex, you'll save 5%. So what's that? I don't know, 10, 20 bucks or something. Shipping, I believe, is free in America, but you will pay to get it shipped to your door if you're outside of America. The price varies on your location. The cool thing is you can go to the Mito Red Light website, add it to your cart, put in your address, and you'll get a shipping quote then and there. All right, so I've now used the Mito Red Belt for, I don't know, half a dozen sessions or so, and I have got some feedback and thoughts, and I want to run through them now. I also, before this video ends, I also want to compare it to a few other belts on the market, though remember this is the only one I've actually used, but we'll take you through a few other options before we finish up. So anyway, first things first, I tried using this as a warm-up when I was getting ready for a gym session the other day. So typically I stand in front of my Biomax 900s as part of my warm-up, but I thought, hey, I'll try this instead. I soon realized it was a bit silly because obviously it's quite a small treatment area instead of a full wall setup. But I thought, you know what, I can put this on and maybe move around and do some kettlebell swings or jump on the rower or something like that. And yeah, you can walk around with this. That's cool, but it's quite restrictive. It's quite a thick, you know, belt, right? I mean, you're not going to be doing, well, you could do lifts with it, but it's quite restrictive in that sense. So I ended up just going back to the Biomix panels and using it, getting my red light dose from that instead. The next day, I was a little bit tender in the lower back. I did some high rep deadlifts. I'll put some videos up, check them out if you're into that sort of thing. So I thought, you know, this is a good opportunity to try it while I'm using my stand-up desk. And this was probably the first real time that I'd used it, you know, in a proper session. So this is what I found. Firstly, to turn it on, it's a little bit annoying. You have to turn the battery pack on first. So you got to pull that out, hit the power button. That's done. Then this comes to life. Then you can turn this on and away you go. Not end of the world, but you know, you do have to turn this on first. It would be nice if you could do it all through the one, you know, you hit the power button on here and away it goes. That was more like I had it all on and then I was like, all right, let's get it going. And it's like, oh gosh, you got to turn the battery pack on. So you're sort of reaching around, pull that out, trying to get it back in the pocket. Not end of the world stuff. And hey, the second time around using this, I learned pretty quickly that you got to turn the battery pack on first. The second thing I noticed is the power setting on here defaults, I believe it defaults to level 0. And there's 5 levels. So level 4 is the top, level 0 is obviously the bottom. So if you want full power, which you should want full power because these are relatively low powered compared to, you know, most LED panels, you gotta set it on level 4, which I'm sure many people have used this and don't even know about that, or they've forgotten, and I nearly did. You know, it's just because I was playing around with it. So, oh geez, that's right, up the power. I kind of wish it defaulted to the top power, and you could drop it down. Really, the only benefit of having the lower power option is to conserve battery life. But you know, maybe you're going to use it for like an hour or so while you go on a walk, in which case, you know, you might want it on the lower setting because you're not overloading the body with red light. And the battery's going to last longer. But typically for me, well, I think if you look at the time settings, you can go up to 30 minutes or just leave it on ongoing. So yeah, anyway, that was a bit of a bummer, but not end of the world. The other thing I should mention, this does get quite warm. It's not like well, no, what's funny is I put this on, it's cold, it was a cold day here, we just hit early spring. I put it on my back and I was like, oh, it was cold at first, you know, that plastic against the skin. But at the end of the session, after about 20 minutes, it's like, well, there's a bit of heat in this. And it was kind of nice because, you know, I'm trying to heat a lower back that was feeling a bit stiff. So it was kind of nice having that heat, and I'm sure there was some benefit from that as well. But it does get surprisingly warm. And you can see that's why those big panels have to have the big cooling heat sinks in them and all the fans, because they're putting out so much more power than this. And there's a lot of heat involved. So yeah, just one observation I thought I'd mention. Another thing I had noticed that I didn't really like, there's no beep or there's no noise or feedback in any form to tell you the session's over. So if you set it to 10 minutes or so, right, after 10 minutes it just turns off, which is fine. But I was working away at my stand-up computer, and then I think, oh, is it turned on or is it still going? You peel the back of the wrap and you see that, oh no, the lights are off. So I tried it again, set it for 30 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it was, curious to see what happened. Yeah, there's no beep. So I don't know, it would be nice just to get a little beep or something, you know, as it ends, just so you know. And then also when it went off the first time, I wasn't too sure if the battery went flat. I'm like, did I actually get my 10-minute session, or did it just go dead? And obviously I turned it back on and it ran fine, so that was good. I've had no issues getting it on and off. I didn't use that other strap that comes with, or the other elastic band that comes with it. I don't quite know why they needed that, because the Velcro on this is very sturdy, and you know it's quite supportive as it is. The loose dangling cables are annoying. I really wish there was just a separate pouch or a nicer way you could tidy that up. Maybe a 3rd generation version of this will have that. I've used it 2 or 3 times in the office. Twice in the gym, once trying to warm up, and then another one after a session as I was just cooling down and tidying up some stuff. I slapped it on. Would I keep using it? Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably keep it in my office, not in the gym, just for days that I do want to hit the lower back, or I could wrap it around my knee or quads or something like that if I want to target them. So it could be handy to have on hand. However, I don't think it's going, well, it's not going to replace a panel, right? It's something to use in conjunction with those panels. Like you might have them for full body treatment, and you have this for, like I said, when you're in the office. You could actually use this in an office with other people, and you're not going to be, drowning the whole room in red light. Like if you were to bring a, I don't know, like a Bimax 300 in, or a smaller Mito Red panel in to your office, and maybe use it on your back for a few minutes, everyone's going to be like, what's going on? Whereas you could put this on and no one would even notice. You could wrap it around you, then turn it on. There's hardly any light leakage. So that is another good plus with this. You could drive with it. Let's say you're heading to the gym, you have it on in the car, take it off when you get there. Public transport, you could take it out for a walk, you could tuck it under your clothes. So there are a lot of benefits from this over a full panel. Of course, you're getting much less power, and it is a much smaller treatment area. Remember, you can use this on any body part, right? Like if you got a sore shoulder, you could just drape it over your shoulder while you're sitting there reading a book. I suppose you could use it on your face if you wanted to, like a mask. Knees, elbows, arms. You don't have to use it on your back. It's just, that was kind of the obvious place for me to use it. You could wrap it around your quads. Of course, you're only going to get one leg at a time. And remember though, the power level is so much lower than the panels. So overall, I mean, if you're into the red light stuff and you've got your panels, then yeah, this might be a nice addition to have in your toolbox, so to speak. Maybe leave it, somewhere around the house where you can just quickly grab it, put it on, or you're making dinner or something like that. It'll be good for targeting those injury, weak points. But at the end of the day, a 5-10 minute session in front of a Mito Red 1500, for instance, is going to give you a lot more therapeutic red light. So if you do want to purchase one of these Mito Red belts, I'll put a link in the description. Be sure to use discount code Alex, will save you a little bit of money. Otherwise, if you've got any questions, if you've enjoyed this video, you've got feedback or anything like that, leave those comments and questions in the comment section. And be sure to hit subscribe. I've got a lot of red light therapy videos, comparisons, reviews, interesting tidbits and whatnot. So be sure to check them out as well. If you're new to all this red light therapy stuff and you want to learn more, you've come to the right channel. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.